Good day, writers. We're in Isaiah chapter 40, verse 26, and I dare say that this daily devotional, it really covers the gamut of our experience. And I'm going to hit on things. I'm not going to be able to get into them because each one of them is a whole chapter in and of itself. But I'm telling you, our ability to see God is at the core of everything. And Isaiah is describing and proclaiming that we need to lift our eyes up. We need to refocus and get away from our reliance on the worldly ways, the idols, and start to acknowledge the goodness of God that is all around us. Mr. Chambers describes it as nature, the sun rising, the moon in the sky, the wind, the beauty of the landscape. There is beauty that we find in others and in relationships as well. And there is beauty in ourself as well. When we consider that deep grieving sorrow that we may have for something that happened to us, the flip side of that is that you identify your own value in that grieving and sorrow, or the value of something. And the tendency is to focus on the pain, but not the inherent value of why you're grieving, because in there lies the truth. There is something so valuable in this creation that God has put us in with a free will that we have perverted through our own choice, that it is astounding that we get up day after day in this big repeat, and we get glimpses of the other side, the goodness, the part where we're not hounded with the choices of evil that evil presents. And you may think, well, what's he talking about in terms of evil? But we have our pettiness, our jealousies, our envy, our greed, our slothfulness, those sort of things, and that constellate around our deficiency. And our deficiency is the absence of a relationship, a oneness with our Creator. And our deficiencies are antithetical to this: waking up in the morning with God in the dawn and just glorifying this creation, which in turn glorifies you. But here's another chapter. In that awareness of good and evil, it's not so much that, it's that it mixes with free will. We get to choose, and we begin to dwell on evil, and we get consumed by it, and God knows it leads to death. So in God's goodness and mercy and grace, God is here with us. He is all about us, trying his best to get us to deny ourselves. And that is a profound thing. We need to absolutely walk into that, to give God everything. And ultimately, it's going to be yourself. And isn't that exactly what Jesus demonstrated? So that Jesus Christ has overcome the world like nobody could or would, has cleared the way for us, has squashed, smashed, destroyed sin, that there is just one thing left for us, and that is to become all Jesus, all God, and to die to that self that is us. So it is today that we are looking at the ability to see God's goodness, which begs the question of why are we blinded? That we begin our days refocusing, putting on the visual aid that allows us to see God's goodness. And whether it's in God's Word, listening to it, or looking up to the sky and acknowledging it, or considering the love that is in your heart, that is good and great and powerful, and building off of that God's goodness has overcame the world, and God desires one thing: to spend the rest of eternity with you. And that is your claim to your own value. Till we write again, write on.